Hi there. I want to take a moment and speak directly to you today, not as a professional, not as an expert, but as a woman who understands. You've spent your entire life giving love, giving time, giving up sleep, vacations, and dreams, all for the people you love most, your children, your family. And now, here you are. You've reached retirement, a season that was supposed to bring rest, freedom, and peace. But somehow, you are still giving, still carrying, still saying yes, even when your heart quietly pleads for rest. Does that sound familiar? If so, I want you to know this: you are not alone. In this video, I want to gently walk with you through 7 things you should never give away after retirement. Not because you are selfish, not because you are turning your back on your family, but because you have earned the right to protect your peace, your time, and your dignity. These are things we often give out of love, but if we are not careful, they can leave us feeling drained, invisible, or even resentful. This is your time now, not to step away from love, but to step into balance. You can love deeply and still set healthy boundaries. You can support others and still protect yourself. So take a deep breath, settle in, and let us walk through these truths together. This is not about guilt. It is about wisdom. And I promise you, by the end of this video, you will feel more clear, more strong, and more at peace with saying, "I choose me." Let us begin. 1. Control over your finances. Let us start with the most important and often the most overlooked: your financial independence. For many of us, money has always been a tool to care for others. We use it to help, to support, to love. We are used to putting others first, and after retirement, it might feel natural to let our children step in and handle things for us. Maybe they offer to pay bills online, manage your accounts, or take over budgeting. And maybe it begins with your full permission, thinking it is temporary or helpful. But here is the quiet truth. Once you give away full control over your finances, getting it back can be much harder than you expect. Margaret, a 74-year-old woman I spoke with, trusted her daughter to help with online payments. She thought it would save time. She handed over her debit card and login details. At first, everything seemed fine, but over time, small purchases started showing up. Margaret did not recognize them, but when she asked, her daughter would say, "Oh, it was just something for the house, dear," or "You said it was okay." Before long, Margaret felt like a guest in her own financial life. She was afraid to ask questions, afraid of sounding ungrateful or distrusting. But your money is not just numbers on a screen. It is your security. It is your voice. It is the result of decades of work, of late nights, of sacrifice, and even more than that, it is your right to decide how it is used. That does not mean you cannot accept help. You absolutely can. But there is a big difference between assistance and surrender. Here is what I want to encourage you to do. Keep your accounts in your name. If you need help, consider setting up limited access or view-only access with a financial advisor's help. Keep a written record of who is doing what. If anything feels off, speak up. Trust your instincts. They are not wrong. You are not being selfish by holding on to your financial decisions. You are being wise. You have spent a lifetime building that foundation. Let no one, not even those you love most, take the steering wheel away from you. Money is not just about bills or budgeting. It is about freedom, care, and peace of mind. And you deserve to protect all 3. 2. Transferring the home too early. Now, let us talk about your home, the place where you have laughed, cried, hosted family holidays, and watched the seasons of your life unfold. It is more than wooden walls. It is where your memories live. It is your sanctuary. And yet, many older women are advised to sign over their homes to their children, thinking it will make things easier later. For taxes, for inheritance, for planning. But here is what too few people tell you. Transferring the title of your home too early can leave you legally and emotionally vulnerable. Dorothy, a woman I met who was 81 years old, signed her home over to her son after retiring. He told her it was the smart thing to do, that it would protect her from nursing home costs down the line. 2 years later, he went through a divorce. Suddenly, her home became part of a legal dispute. She could not sell it, she could not make changes to it, and worst of all, she no longer felt like it was hers. She said to me, with the tears in her eyes, "I just wanted to make things easier, but I lost the only place that ever truly felt like mine." It is a painful reminder that even the best intentions can have lasting consequences. Life changes quickly, even for our children. And once your home is in someone else's name, their problems can become yours. You are not being difficult by keeping your name on the deed. You are being responsible. You are protecting the space you built over decades, the space where you should feel most safe. Here is what I recommend. Do not sign over your house without speaking to an elder law attorney. Explore options like living trusts or life estate deeds, which offer protection while keeping you in control. Understand every legal document before you sign. Ask questions. Take your time. This is your home. You built it, you loved it, and you have every right to stay in charge of it. Keeping it in your name does not mean you love your family any less. It means you are honoring yourself and the life you have built. 3. Unlimited access to your time and energy. Let us talk about your time, the one thing you cannot get back once it is gone. After retirement, you may have expected slower mornings, peaceful afternoons, maybe a chance to take that watercolor class, or visit a friend you have not seen in years. But instead, many women find themselves busier than ever. You are driving grandchildren to school. You are running errands for your adult children. You're on call for every small emergency that comes up. And it all began with love. Of course it did. But when love turns into obligation, something sacred is lost. Carolyn, age 76, used to look forward to Tuesdays. That was her book club day. A small group of women who met every week, laughed, shared stories, and sipped tea, but slowly, those Tuesdays got taken. Her daughter asked, "Mom, can you just pick up the kids this once?" Then again the next week, and the next. Soon, the book club was gone, and so were the walks Carolyn loved, the quiet mornings, the afternoon naps. She told me, "I retired to enjoy my life, but somehow I feel busier than ever, and not for me." This story is all too common, because saying yes is what mothers do. But here is what I want you to hear. You have the right to say no. Or not today, or only on your terms. Your time is not leftover. Your energy is not endless. At this stage of life, rest is not optional. It is necessary. There is nothing wrong with helping your family. But when helping becomes expected, when your time is assumed to be available for everyone but yourself, the resentment begins. And often, it grows in silence. That is why boundaries matter. You can say, "I can help on Mondays and Wednesdays, but I need the rest of the week to myself. I love being with the grandkids, but I cannot commit to a full week. I need quiet mornings for my health and peace of mind." These are not selfish statements. They are statements of self-respect. You're not a background character in everyone else's story. You're the author of your own chapter now. Your time has value. Your energy is precious. And both deserve to be protected, not out of guilt, but out of wisdom and care for your own well-being. 4. Becoming the emotional fixer or family therapist. There is something deeply ingrained in many of us as mothers, the need to make everything better, to fix, to comfort, to carry. Even when our children are grown, even when we are no longer strong enough to keep doing it, you have spent decades listening to their fears, their breakups, their job struggles. You have stayed up late on the phone, prayed for them, talked them through everything from middle school drama to midlife crises, and now they still come to you with their stress, their arguments, their panic, and you listen, because that is what you have always done. But here is the truth. Your nervous system was not built to be their full-time therapist. Howard, a man I once met who was 78 years old, used to get phone calls every other night from his son. His son was struggling with a failing business, and Howard would listen for hours, offer advice, sometimes even send money. After a few months, Howard said he started waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning with chest pain. Not from illness, but from stress. He said, "I felt like I was the one drowning, and I was not even in the water." That is what happens when you become your child's emotional emergency room. You are allowed to care without caring at all. You are allowed to listen and still protect your peace. Here is something you can say when the emotional weight becomes too much. "I hear how hard this is for you. I hope you can talk to someone who can really help. I love you, but I am feeling overwhelmed and I need to rest right now." Maybe it would help to speak with a therapist or counselor. You are not rejecting them by setting this boundary. You're loving yourself and them by saying, "I am not your solution. I am your mother, and I trust that you can find your own way." Your emotional space is sacred. It is not a dumping ground. And at this stage in life, you deserve conversations that bring peace, not ones that leave you heavy and exhausted. Protect your heart, protect your peace, and trust that your children are capable, even when they are struggling. Because giving them space to grow may be the greatest support you can offer. 5. Becoming the primary caregiver for grandchildren. There is a deep and special bond between a grandmother and her grandchild. It is full of warmth, laughter, second chances, and unconditional love. Many grandmothers say that becoming one is one of the greatest joys of their lives. But for many, that joy is quietly mixed with something else: exhaustion, pressure, and even guilt. More and more women in their 70s and 80s are finding themselves back in the role of full-time caregivers. What starts as helping out, maybe a few afternoons a week, slowly becomes something more. Days turn into weeks, weeks turn into years. And one day, you realize you are packing lunches, cleaning up toys, chasing toddlers, and missing your own doctor appointments. You might say to yourself, "I love them, of course I will help." But what you may not say out loud is, "I'm tired," or "This is more than I can handle." Linda, age 73, agreed to help her daughter with childcare for one summer. Just for a little while, she told herself. But that summer turned into fall, then winter, then a second year. By then, she was too tired to go out in the evenings. She stopped attending her monthly book group. Her garden went untouched. "I didn't realize how much of myself I was giving up," she said. "I love my grandson more than anything, but I had no time left for me." Here is the hard truth. Raising children, especially at our age, is not just emotionally demanding. It is physically exhausting. It impacts our health, our relationships, our peace of mind. That does not mean you should not help at all. It means you should not feel obligated to carry it all. It is okay to say, "I can help 2 days a week, but I need the others to rest. I will babysit for the afternoon, but I cannot commit to full days anymore. I love being grandma, but I cannot be mom again." Your retirement years were not meant to be a repeat of your 30s. They were meant to be a time of rest, reflection, and joy. And yes, loving your grandchildren deeply is part of that joy. But raising them full-time, unless that is truly your choice, and within your physical ability, should not be something you feel pressured to take on. There are other ways to help. Share care duties with other family members. Explore part-time childcare options. Offer support in smaller, more manageable ways. Remember, saying "I cannot" is not a sign of failure. It is a sign of wisdom. And sometimes, the most loving thing you can do for your family is to take care of yourself, so that when you do show up, you are present, joyful, and whole. You gave your best to raise your children. Now you deserve to give something back to yourself: time, space, and peace. 6. Giving away your emergency fund or retirement savings. You spent your whole life working hard, sometimes at jobs that did not pay enough, in seasons that stretched you thin. You clipped coupons. You skipped vacations. You put off things for yourself so your family could have what they needed. And now, here you are with retirement savings. Maybe not a fortune, but enough to sleep at night. Enough to keep the heat on in winter and food on the table. Enough to feel safe. But then, one day, your son calls. He is behind on rent. Your daughter needs help with her car repair. A grandchild is applying to college and coming up short. You look at your account and say, "I can manage." You write the check. You say yes. And maybe it feels right in that moment, because that is who you are. You help. You give. You fix. But here is the hard part no one talks about. Once that money leaves your hands, it almost never comes back. And when something unexpected happens, and it will, you may not have time, energy, or health to recover from it. Let me tell you about Helen, a woman I met at a senior center in Florida. She is 80 years old. Over the course of 5 years, she gave small amounts of money to her adult son, first for groceries, then for bills, then for a business idea. It never felt like much. $1,000 here, $500 there. But it added up. In total, she had given away over $25,000. When she needed hearing aids that Medicare would not fully cover, she found herself short. She had to choose between paying for what she needed and dipping into the last bit of her emergency savings. "I felt ashamed," she said. "I helped everyone else, but now I was the one in need, and I had nothing left to give myself." Dear friend, I want you to hear this. Your savings are not extra. They are essential. They are not selfish. They are wise. They are not only for you. They are so your children do not have to worry about how to support you later. If you give, do it with a clear plan. Set limits. Know exactly how much you can afford to give and how often. Make one-time gifts, not open-ended promises. Offer financial advice instead of cash. Help your children find support resources, job training, or financial counseling. You're not saying, "I do not care." You're saying, "I care too much to put myself at risk." You deserve to enjoy the fruits of your labor. You deserve to feel safe when you go to the doctor. You deserve to say, "I need this money for me, for my future, for my health, for my peace." And the truth is, your children, if they truly love and respect you, will understand. They may even be relieved. Because deep down, no child wants to be the reason their mother struggles in old age. Protecting your savings is not about building walls. It is about building security. Not just for you, but for the generations that come after you. You gave your family your time, your strength, and your love. Now, let your money give something back to you. The peace of knowing you are safe, stable, and free. 7. Decision-making power over your life plans. Retirement is often painted as a peaceful time, the reward for a life of hard work, a time to relax, to travel, to finally do the things you once put off. But what no one tells you is how quickly that sense of freedom can be taken, even by the people who love you most. For many women, that freedom begins to shrink, not through force, but through small, well-meaning suggestions. Mom, I think you should stop driving. Why don't you move closer to us? You don't need that big house anymore, do you? These questions sound gentle. They are often said with care, but when they are repeated again and again, without truly hearing your feelings, they start to feel like pressure. And slowly, you begin to question whether your voice still matters. Elaine, a 79-year-old woman I met in Arizona, moved across the country to live closer to her daughter and grandkids. On paper, it seemed like a dream. Help when she needed it, family nearby, a smaller, easier home. But 6 months later, Elaine found herself deeply out of place. She missed her church, her neighbors, her weekly coffee group. She missed her local doctor, the one who understood her history and listened without rushing. She even missed the sound of the birds outside her old kitchen window. It was the right move for them, she said, but it wasn't the right move for me, and I didn't speak up soon enough. That is what can happen when you let others, even loving family, make decisions for you instead of with you. And it happens more than we think. You may start with small compromises, skipping a trip because your daughter thinks it's too tiring, changing doctors because someone else schedules it, avoiding travel because you should stay safe. And over time, you start to forget that this season of life is still yours. Here is what I want you to know. You are still the author of your story. You still get to say where you live, who you spend time with, what kind of care you want, and how you spend your days. Even if your health changes, even if your needs evolve, your voice should never be an afterthought. So what can you do? Have honest conversations early, before decisions are made without you. Write down your preferences, where you want to live, how you want to be cared for, who you trust to help make choices. Use legal tools, like a living will, power of attorney, or healthcare directive, to protect your wishes. And most importantly, never be afraid to say, I hear your concerns. I know you care, but this is my decision. That one sentence holds so much power because boundaries are not walls. They are lines of respect. And claiming your decision-making power is not rebellion. It is responsibility. You spent your life supporting others. Now, you deserve a chapter where you are supported, not controlled. Heard, not managed. Respected, not directed. Your later years should not feel like giving up the wheel. They should feel like finally driving your life where you want to go. So if someone pushes you in a direction that does not feel right, take a breath. Listen to your inner voice. And remember, you know what matters to you. You know what gives you peace. You know what you want your life to feel like. You still get to choose. And that, more than anything, is what retirement should really be about. Your peace is not selfish. It is sacred. You have reached a season of life that was not handed to you. You earned it. You earned it through long nights with sick children, through skipped vacations, and quiet sacrifices no one ever saw. Through worry, through work, through the constant act of showing up, even when you were tired, even when no one said thank you. And now, this chapter, retirement, is supposed to be your time. But too often, women like you are still expected to give everything. Your time, your home, your energy, your savings, your voice. And yet, there is something deeply wise, deeply necessary about choosing to stop giving beyond your limit and start protecting what matters most: your peace, your health, your autonomy, your joy. Not because you are done loving your family, but because love should not mean losing yourself. You can say no and still be a good mother. You can rest and still be supportive. You can set boundaries and still be generous. That is not selfish. That is strength. So take a moment now, gently, and ask yourself, which of these 7 things have I already given away? Which one is slowly draining me? And which one am I ready to take back? Maybe it is your time. Maybe it is your savings. Maybe it is your say in your own life. Whatever it is, I want you to know, it is not too late to reclaim it. Because peace is not something that just happens. It is something we protect with intention, with love, and yes, with courage. You're not alone in this. Thousands of women are walking this path, asking the same questions, and choosing, sometimes for the first time, to put themselves first. If something in this video spoke to you, I would love to hear from you. Share in the comments. What is one thing you are ready to protect starting today? If you found this message valuable, I invite you to subscribe so you never miss a conversation that's just for you. And if you know another woman who's quietly giving too much, send this to her. Let her know she is seen, she is not wrong, and she deserves peace too. Thank you for being here with me. Until next time, stay kind to yourself, stay wise with your energy, and never forget, you still matter, and your life is still yours.